Touchdown, buzzer beater, do it all now. All now, top corner talking home run. Touchdown, buzzer beater, do it all now. All now, top corner like ooh.
All right. Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, May 27th, 2025, and this is the Monday Report on a Tuesday. I'm your host, H. James K., and today we are going to be recapping the 109th Indianapolis 500. Yes, the greatest spectacle in racing has taken place on what many call Motorsports Christmas, home of the Monaco Grand Prix, the Indy 500, and the Coca-Cola 600. Ultimately, all of it was kind of a wet blanket, but we're going to power through it anyway. Today we're going to do a full recap of the entire event. I'm going to talk about all the crashes, chaos, strategy, penalties, chaos. Did I say chaos? Because, oh my god, the race was so chaotic and cold. I was there. It was freaking freezing. 62 degrees and rainy and blustery. It was not great. All right, let's start it. Speaking of the weather, cloudy, chilly conditions with smatterings of rain delayed the start of the race and interrupted proceedings for yet another year. Yes, this was the first time the start of the race was delayed by rain for 2 years in a row. I don't even know if that's ever happened before. I don't bother to check because I don't hate myself. But either way, it's been a minimum of 50 years since that's happened, if it's even ever happened before. It was crazy, but thankfully, the broadcast played it off well, and it didn't really feel like there was a rain delay. Thank God. The cold conditions had unforeseen consequences. The rain and cool track temps meant that the expected tire wear that Firestone was anticipating never materialized, and teams were routinely able to extend the life of the tires far beyond the 28 to 29 lap maximum that was originally foreseen. In fact, teams were doing as much as 34 and 35 lap stints without yellow. This turned what was originally a shootout into a boring, mundane, fuel-saving race, because everyone loves it when they save fuel and tires. Moving on. Scott McLaughlin led off a disastrous day for Team Penske. One I would argue is the worst they've had at the Speedway since the horrible 1995 edition of the race where they were completely bumped from the field. McLaughlin spun on a pace lap in turn 1 and destroyed his car, never even taking a green flag. Seeing replays of the crash, it was just one of those crazy act of God things that was just... I felt so bad for the guy. I remember standing there in my father and I in our seats at the track, and we're looking at the video screens, and he's just so sad. I wouldn't wish a feeling like that on anybody, and in fact, he reiterated something very similar after the race. It was a harbinger of things to come. On lap 1, Marco Andretti and Marcus Armstrong got together, and Marco crashed in turn 1, ending his race after about a quarter of a mile. Yeah, so much for the Indy 500. It was much more like the Indy 0.25 miles for Marco Andretti. On lap 73, a mechanical failure forced Alexander Rossi into the pits, only for a botched refueling to start a fire that set the car, the fueler, and the fuel hose on fire, ending Rossi's race then and there. It was rather spectacular. Fire extinguishers everywhere, giant orange flames, people running in all directions, Alexander Rossi angrily throwing his gloves and storming off, covered in the powdered stuff that's in fire extinguishers. It was crazy. I felt so bad. My dad is a gigantic Alexander Rossi fan, so yeah, that was disappointing to say the least. On lap 86, a disastrous brake failure caused Prima rookie and pole sitter Robert Schwartzman to slide through his pit box and hit 4 of his pit crew. The impact ultimately injured his refueler, on top of catastrophically damaging his front end, knocking him out of the race. Rinus VeeKay had a similar crash elsewhere in the race when his brakes failed, forcing him to spin uncontrollably into the inside wall of the pit lane, totaling his car, knocking him out of the race. Also on lap 86, Takuma Sato slid past the markers in his pit box, causing his team to have a disastrously long pit stop that cost him several positions on track. This is something that Sato ultimately did not recover from, and he was irrelevant for the rest of the race, even though he had been commandingly leading up to that point. Kyle Larson, who was attempting the Indy Charlotte double, spun on a restart on lap 92 and collected Kiffin Simpson and Stingray Robb, ending the double and all 3 drivers' races then and there. It was, I don't want to say a rookie amateur hour kind of mistake, because I'm not an IndyCar driver, but he didn't even, get hit or anything. Larson just spun in the entrance to turn 2 and collected 2 drivers. It was a disappointing end to a disappointing month of May for Kyle Larson for the second year in a row. I'll talk about the rest of his double a little later. On lap 135, Joseph Newgarden's spirited charge from the back of the field to the front was tragically ended when a fuel pressure issue forced him out of the race. He started in the 32nd position and managed to get all the way up into the top 10 before fuel pressure issues forced him to the pits and out of the race. To be honest with you, I firmly believe that if Joseph Newgarden hadn't had that issue and had stayed in the race, I think he would have been fighting for the win with Alex Palou and Marcus Ericsson and David Malukas and Pato and all them. I think he would have been very much in the hunt because he had the fastest car on track. His car could do anything, go anywhere, run away from everybody. He was fast as hell. And sadly, we were robbed of that opportunity by the racing gods themselves when they gave him car trouble. After lap 135, the race settled down into a groove and stayed that way to the finish. Ultimately, the end of the race found the top 4 drivers, Marcus Ericsson of Andretti Global, David Malukas of AJ Foyt Enterprises, Alex Palou of Chip Ganassi Racing, and Pato O'Ward of Arrow McLaren IndyCar team, battling for the lead. Palou passed Malukas with about 25 laps to go and began tracking down Marcus Ericsson. On lap 185, Alex Palou drove underneath Marcus Ericsson into turn 1, taking the lead of the race. This move was very sudden and it just kind of appeared out of nowhere. Ahead of this battle, teammates Louis Foster and Devlin DeFrancesco of Rahal Letterman Lanigan were battling for position 14 in the field and to stay on the lead lap. The dirty air created by the consistent passing each other of Louis Foster and Devlin DeFrancesco created dirty air that basically precluded everyone behind them from passing. So moves from Marcus Ericsson, David Malukas, and Pato O'Ward, moves that could have maybe challenged Palou for the win, just never happened. And instead, we were treated to 15 laps of 4 cars locked in irons, so to speak, just on rails, slot cars. It really sucked because Marcus Ericsson's team had played strategy perfectly, and he was there in the front with a tire advantage and a fuel advantage, and it didn't mean a hill of beans. And I'm going to move on because I'm going to talk about that in a second. Alex Palou held off Ericsson and won the race, his first win on an oval and his first Indy 500 win. Coupling that with his 3 championships that he's already won, and we're getting to the point where he's quickly becoming one of the best Indy drivers of all time. He ain't in the GOAT conversation yet. He's got to get probably 35 more wins and 3 more championships and probably at least 1 more Indy 500 before I'm even willing to contemplate that discussion, but still, he's up there. After the race, second place finisher Marcus Ericsson, his Andretti Global teammate Kyle Kirkwood, and Prema driver Callum Ilott all failed post-race technical inspections. The two Andrettis were found to have non-compliant hybrid shrouds and covers, allowing the teams to run more aerodynamically efficient setups on those cars, this giving them a competitive advantage. Callum Ilott's car was found to have a left wing end plate and left wing that both were not within the allowable positions, both of them being too low to the ground along with the rest of the front wing assembly. Ultimately, all three cars were sent to the back of the field. Commensurate with the finishing positions they all had originally, they were docked all the points they would have earned from their original finishing positions, as well as all the money they would have earned from those finishing positions. For reference, Marcus Ericsson finished second. Kyle Kirkwood finished in the top 13, and Callum Ilott finished, I think, in the top 10, but not anymore. Now they finished 31, 32, and 33. Docked all the money. On top of that, their race engineers were all suspended for one race, and the teams were fined $100,000 for each of the cars that was penalized. This means that everyone else in the field moved up however many spots they would have moved up because the drivers ahead of them were no longer ahead of them. So David Malukas and Pato O'Ward, for example, moved up to second and third, which is a nice bump in prize money and points for each of them. Moving beyond just the race, let's talk about some great things that happened in the race. There was record attendance! It was a grandstand sellout. 350,000 people were there. Oh my God, there were so many freaking people at the 109th Indianapolis 500. Traffic, I guess, was crazy. I didn't personally have too much trouble getting into the track. We were kind of surprised. But from what I had heard, it was an absolute madhouse getting in the morning. The grandstand sellout of the 109th Indianapolis 500 is the first such sellout since 2016, which was the 100th Indianapolis 500. It was the first time the local blackout in Indianapolis, where the race isn't shown live and it is instead tape delayed and shown at like 7 o'clock in the evening that night, that was lifted because, well, there's no one left who could choose to go to the race but might not because the race will be on TV. So that was noteworthy. Having been to both the 2016 and 2025 editions of the race, I'll say that while the weather was cooler in 2025, meaning that the 2016 race was generally more uncomfortable, the 2025 crowd was way crazier. I mean, there were people everywhere. Lines for everything were insane. The tunnel to get into the infield was absolutely nuts, and the line to get into the garages, if you had garage passes, went on for like over 1,000 feet. It was crazy. It was like several hundred yards long of just people stretched into the distance waiting to get into the garages. We had garage passes, and we chose not to because my mom has some mobility issues, and it was cold, and the line was absolutely nuts. So that was a whole thing. So the crowds were absolutely crazy, which is an absolute win for the Indianapolis 500 because whenever the crowds are good, the energy is amped up, and it's good for the health of the series and the health of the race. Speaking of the health of the series, ratings. It's Monday when I'm recording this, and ratings for the race have come out. And OMG, the ratings. The advertising done by Fox ahead of the race, as well as the broadcast itself, were a smashing success, achieving a stunning 7 million viewers. This is the most since the 2008 edition of the Indy 500, which is significant because the 2008 race was the first Indy 500 after the end of the IndyCar split between the IRL and CART. More than the raw numbers, the Indy 500 had a higher rating than the Daytona 500 of NASCAR, for the first time since 2021. And who knows how long it was before 2021. That just doesn't happen. It was crazy. The ratings were just, we are so back. OMG. Just when I thought we couldn't be down more, we are so frickin' back. It's awesome. I'm fanboying a little bit, and I don't frickin' care. Oh, those ratings were good. I personally was fearing that the weather delay, along with kind of the muted finish and the just general bleh atmosphere of the race, was gonna kind of hamper ratings, and we were gonna get like a 5.3 million kind of thing like we got last year. But no, advertising works. Who knew? Kudos to Fox. I thought it was a good broadcast. I was at the race, but my family has a scanner and headsets that allow us to kind of tap into the Fox broadcast feed at the track. So I listened to the Fox broadcast the entire time. Which, for those of you who don't do that if you go to a race, do that. Because you hear what they're talking about during commercial breaks. So, like, I'm hearing Hinch and T-Bell bantering and talking strategy, and Will Buxton saying, do we have this or do we have that, or did you see that, or do we have any word on what's going on with X or Y? Totally do that. Invest the money. It makes the on-track experience of an IndyCar race infinitely better. Do it. But anyway, the ratings and the broadcast, I thought they were a tremendous success. There are those who had issues with like the scoring pylon on the screen and some of the fact that maybe there was a lot of commercial breaks or they didn't show a lot of the passing, but ultimately the broadcast did what it needed to do. It delivered the race to as many people as it possibly could. This year being 7 million. Hopefully we go to 8 million next year, or even 10 or 20. Who knows where we could go down the road. 20 million is probably not going to happen because even freaking NASCAR doesn't do that. But, hey, 8 million, 10 million, it's possible if you put in enough legwork, which Fox totally did this year, which was awesome. Altogether, I'm so pleased with the outcome of the broadcast and the ratings and what it's going to do to the series as a whole going forward. Now, let's get to my candid thoughts on the race. This was the worst Indianapolis 500 I have ever been to. And I've been to some doozies. I was at 2018 when there was no passing. I was at 2019 when it was just so hot. I was at 2010 when there was just squelching temperatures and tons of crashes. I've gone to rain-shortened races. I've been to every single one since 2007. I'm incredibly blessed. And I'll say it right now, that was the worst Indy 500 I've ever seen. And it didn't need to be. That's the thing that sucks. Because this race set up perfectly. There were tons of strategies. There was tons of intrigue. The players were all there. And then Devlin DeFrancesco and Louis Foster ruined everything. It's a common fact that the current iteration of the IR18 IndyCar cannot pass if you are more than 3-ish cars back in the pack. Now, that's fine if the leader is open clean air and you got second and third right there. They can all slice and dice and pass each other at will. But if Louis Foster and Devlin DeFrancesco are first and second in line in the clean air parade, and Alex Palou is third, guess what can't happen behind them? Ericsson, Malukas, and Pato can't do shit. And they didn't do shit. Again. Ugh, it was so frustrating. Because Palou could have easily passed those three, but he chose not to because he's a smart driver and he knows his racecraft. He stayed behind them because they allowed him to save fuel and save tires and pulled him around the track, and the dirty air they created prevented anyone behind him from passing him. So ultimately what we got is Palou tootling around in first place behind two drivers who are slicing and dicing for no fucking reason at all. And I know I'm swearing and I shouldn't swear because it's bad for everything, but I'm so heated because it robbed us of a great finish because Ericsson was fast. He had a tire advantage. He had a fuel advantage. Palou, who was the faster car, had to save fuel. He had to save tires. It was going to be close. Potter was there. David Malukas was flying. He was there. And it didn't matter because we were robbed of an awesome finish. And to tell you how ho-hum it was, the crowd went, yay, he won, and then just all left. Nobody cared. The most muted finish to a race I have ever seen. It was a big old, well, that was a thing, and then let's get out of here. When Elio Castroneves won his 5th in 2021, I was nearly crying. The whole crowd was just like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I don't want to leave. And nobody left for like an hour. There was none of that today, on Sunday. None of that. It was, oh, Alex Palou won? Okay, good for him. Clap, clap. All right, let's get out of here. It's been 10 minutes. And it shouldn't be that way. This race should have been crazy close. And yes, I know Marcus Ericsson, his car wasn't compliant, and if he had won the race, there would have been one hell of a controversy with him getting demoted. But still, even if Palou had to win, if we could have seen him and Marcus Ericsson and David Malukas dicing it up for 10 laps, it would have been an amazing finish, because I know this car can put on a finish like that. I've seen it the last 3 years. But instead, we didn't get that. And Mr. Perfect himself, that damn Spaniard, Alex Palou, he got another win where it's like, oh, is it time for me to take the lead? Okay, cool. And he just drives around into the lead and drives away and wins the race. And I know. Alex Palou has won 5 of the last 6 races this season. He's won 5 of all 6 races. And the one he didn't win, he got second. And he's way out in front in points, and it's domination, and it's historic. And I am going to remember this season fondly because of that domination. But in the moment, this is the most boring crap ever. It's so boring. My guy is in second place in the points. Pato's in second. And that's awesome. And he has no shot of winning because it's already over. And it sucks. Now, ultimately, the next race is the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix held in downtown Detroit around the Ren-Sen, Sunday, June 1st at 12:30 p.m. And you know what's going to happen? Alex Palou is going to get the pole. He's going to win the race. It's going to be no contest because it's a street course. That's what's going to happen. So he's going to win 6 of the first 7 races. Needed to take a drink to save my voice. I'm screaming my head off, and I'm heated about it. So yeah, Alex Palou is going to keep winning. He's going to win Toronto, Portland, Road America, Laguna Seca, Nashville, Milwaukee, Iowa 1, Iowa 2. He's going to win all of them. Oh yeah, Gateway, going to win that one. Hell, at the rate he's going, he might win every race for the rest of the season and keep winning next year. Assuming he's not in Formula 1, like he should be, because he's clearly one of the best drivers on the frickin' planet. But Alex Palou's dominance is just something to behold. He's such a good guy, and I'm happy for him because he deserves his flowers, but oh my God, please, for the love of God, someone at least challenge him. And this year's Indy 500, we could have got that, but we didn't because of frickin' Louis Foster and Devlin DeFrancesco. And you know what? I know it's not in the rules, but if I was race control, I would have told Devlin DeFrancesco and Louis Foster to do a drive-through penalty. Just do a drive-through. Drive through the damn pits. Get out of the fucking way. That's it. Get out of the damn way. You can go back to killing each other later. You're in a fucking knife fight in a phone booth. I don't care. Pass each other later. Get out of the way of the leaders. In fact, I think, and I truly believe this, they should have a new rule that if you get a blue flag within the last 20 laps of the race, you don't get to fight to stay on the lead lap. Just get out of the damn way. Because at that point, you ain't going to get on the lead lap and then pass everybody and win the race. No. That ain't going to happen. With 20 laps to go, it's over for you, Chief. It's done. Get out of the damn way. Let the big dogs and the big boys race to the finish, and you can go on your merry way and be slow and pathetic somewhere else. Because, oh my God, I'm so tired of lap traffic that has no reason to be there in the last 20 laps of the race, robbing IndyCar fans of a brilliant finish. They did it again this year. They've done it in other races. Ugh! In the last, 10% of a race, they should just be told to get the hell out of the way, especially at the Indy 500. And if you only want to do that rule at Indy, then that's fine. do it at Indy, but you have got to change something. Because right now, that shouldn't happen. Where nobody can pass Palou because the dirty air from 2 lap cars is preventing everyone from passing. Oh my God, I'm clipping my audio so bad, I don't even care. I'm so heated. What they need to do is, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the 2027 car that is allegedly coming out, because we only do one big oval nowadays and we don't have to worry about like unsafe pack racing on high banked ovals, screw it. Pack on as much goddamn downforce as you want. Make that car have as big of a slingshot effect as possible. Put a frickin' Hanford wing like it's 1999 kart up in this bitch. Make that car where you can slingshot around anyone. Where it's the most crazy 2012 to 2014 shit you've ever seen. 62 on-track lead changes officially at the line. 150 unofficial. I want that to just be like, whoever rolls the dice and gets to the line first wins. I don't care if the drivers hate it. I want the most exciting crap ever. I want lead changes every lap. That's what I want. So yeah, because we don't have to worry about killing each other with crazy crashes at the banking, yeah, pack on the downforce. Make the slingshot effect crazy. Let's get the raciest, most gimmicky BS video game BS passing ever. Hanford wings for everybody. Make it like the 2001 California 500 up in this bitch, where it's just like, holy crap, they're swapping the lead every lap. That's what I want. Do that, IndyCar. Do that, because this race is the only race that matters. It's the only race that needs to be beyond entertaining for the whole frickin' world. Do that. I want to be on my feet because Pato O'Ward and Alex Palou are swapping the lead every lap for 200 laps. That's what I want. It'd be amazing. Yes, the drivers would bitch and moan about it, but you know what? Shut up and drive the car. You're in the Indy 500. Who cares? Let the fans have the joy and the awesome entertainment of seeing people slicing and dicing every lap. It's awesome. That's amazing. Why shouldn't we want that? I'm going to end it there because I'm so heated and I'm sweating and I'm screaming my ass off. So I love the 500. I love it so much. I want it to be good, and we cannot allow this year's race to happen again. We can't allow lap traffic to just ruin it for everybody. Because you know what? That hurts the credibility of the series, especially when post-race, the second place finisher was found to be cheating. On top of the fact that all the Penske's were cheating before the race. IndyCar has to make some changes. They need to have an independent adjudicator of rules. They need to make sure the 2027 car is just crazy racy on the super speedways, because you only do one of them now. You know, Michigan ain't happening. Homestead's gone. Texas is gone. California's been torn down. Yeah, let's make it racy. So that's what they need to do, because Fox brought it home. They had a great rating for this year. The advertising was a freaking huge success, and it portends well to the health of the series if we can just sort out these few itty bitty teeny tiny issues with the package. You do that, then you could forget about the hybrid. The hybrid being irrelevant this year. They didn't mention it once in the broadcast because it doesn't have any impact on ovals. It's not even a thing. It isn't even like push to pass where it's like, oh, he's got to manage this and it's an advantage. It wasn't. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. And I mean, yeah, it allows them to restart the cars, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Does it help the racing or not? No, take it out. If it does, cool, keep it in. If it doesn't, modify it. If you don't want to get rid of it, modify it so that it does help the racing. Triple the power. I want it to be, if it's like turbo mode, like light speed engaged, like Star Wars, awesome. That's cool. They just won't use it in the damn turns. Awesome. That would be great. Do that. Do something, because right now it didn't matter at all, which is not great. That's not good for anything. It's just a giant 130-pound lead weight in the back of the cars. And it makes the cars harder to drive, slower, and less racy. That's all that it's done. So make those changes, fix the damn passing, keep the good vibes going on the broadcast. The good ratings were awesome. And you know what? toning it down and getting the good vibes going instead of the angry rant. If Alex Palou is going to continue dominating like this, we need to savor it, because if he wins every race for the rest of the year, he's going to be in Formula One next year. I guarantee you. I guarantee it. There's no way they won't take a shot on a 4-time Indy champion, Indy 500 winner, who has just dominated a spec series. Think about that. All right. Next week, I'm going to be doing a cultural retrospective on the Indy 500. I'm going to be doing a kind of probably 20-minute expose on the cultural impact of the 500 over the years, the highs, the lows, the positives and negatives, and how it has just shaped culture as an institution. That's next week, June 2nd, 2025. June 9th, we're going to do a 24 hours of Le Mans preview and predictions for each category. There's like 4 or 5 categories this year. I'm going to do some research, and I'm going to make predictions for every single category ahead of the 24 hours of Le Mans. June 16th, the future of college football playoffs. There's been a lot in the news. We're going to get back into the football. We're going to leave the racing behind for a bit. And then the last one I've really got planned, the evolution of sports broadcasting. That's on June 23rd. And from there, I got to come up with more ideas. But that's the plan going forward. So thank you all for listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, all of them, Audible.com. If you're listening on a podcast, thank you. It means you are searching out my podcast, because it's not hard to find, and we're small right now. If you're enjoying this podcast, please spread the word. Help other people find the podcast. Spread the word. Tell your friends. For those of you watching on YouTube, thank you. Hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, leave a comment, help spread the word, feed the algorithm so the channel can grow. We got 7 whole subscribers. Can we please get to like 20 by the end of June? That would be awesome. Please. Thank you for tuning in. My name is H. James K. Until next time.